When Sandman turns into scattered sand, where is his consciousness hidden? The answer is, it's hidden in a single grain of sand. During their battle, Spider-Man once discovered this crucial grain of sand. Spider-Man used his webbing to extract this key grain, instantly disintegrating Sandman's massive body. Yes, Sandman is essentially just one grain of sand, but don't underestimate him. He could use that single grain to command the entire Sahara Desert. Let's dive deeper into this character in this video. 1. A unique body. Sandman, whose real name is William Baker, gained his powers during a prison escape by chance. He fled into a nuclear testing site. The explosion caused severe radiation exposure, resulting in a mutation between his body and the sand beneath his feet. Miraculously, he survived, though he lost his physical body. Instead, his soul became bound to a single grain of sand, which contains all his thoughts and neural activity. With this grain, he can control other sand particles to form various shapes, earning him the name Sandman without a physical body. Sandman is, in essence, immortal. He could potentially live for 5 billion years. He doesn't need food, air, or rest. In human form, his body functions like a regular human's, but with extraordinary capabilities. Sandman can freely transform all or parts of his body into sand. He can sense and control each grain of sand that makes up his body. Through conscious control, Sandman influences molecular cohesion between adjacent grains, enabling sand to move independently. Remarkably, he can control a single grain of sand if needed. Sandman can remain in his sand form indefinitely. If he loses consciousness in this state, he will continue to exist as sand. Even if his head turns into sand or his brain's grains scatter, Sandman's consciousness persists. Though only one grain is sentient, the power it wields is extraordinary. 2. Mastery over sand. Sandman has unparalleled control over sand, extending to every aspect of his body, including density manipulation and shape-shifting, significantly enhancing his combat abilities. Density manipulation. The mutation in Sandman's body structure has also upgraded his density, allowing him to compress or loosen the grains composing his form. As a result, Sandman can become as hard as a rock or disperse his body to avoid physical attacks. One of his favorite tactics is slightly dispersing when struck by an opponent, then increasing his density to trap their limbs. He can let Spider-Man's webbing pass through him, allow handcuffs to slip off his wrists, or let Spider-Man phase through his body while maintaining a humanoid shape. Shape-shifting. Sandman can mold his body into any form he imagines. For instance, he often turns his arms into hammers or massive fists. He can stretch, elongate, reshape, and compress all or parts of his body, much like Mr. Fantastic. Sandman can slip through tight spaces, transform his arm into a snake, or create a tiny version of Spider-Man from his hand. Size alteration. Sandman can absorb vast amounts of sand to grow to the height of an 8-story building or flatten his body like paper against a wall. This trick allows him to make Spider-Man and the Human Torch crash into walls when trying to grab him. He can also hide in a small jar, transform into a container to snuff out Human Torch's flames, or become a giant vibrating wheel to knock Hulk away. He once buried a room full of the Fantastic Four in sand, nearly suffocating them. Sandman can even transform into a massive sand castle, spawning countless versions of himself. Alternatively, he can shrink into a miniature Sandman. 3. Defense capabilities. His density control and shape-shifting also make Sandman incredibly resilient. When things struck him with a massive metal object, the metal shattered while Sandman remained unharmed. Even after taking a powerful punch from Thing, he counterattacked effortlessly. Sandman can generate a giant hand to smash rocks Hulk throws at him or withstand Rhino's full-speed charge. When Hulk hit him with a car, Sandman dispersed his body to dodge the blow, then reassembled to strike back. Bullets pass harmlessly through his head, and he can withstand a barrage of bullets from a Gatling gun. Even after being blown apart by a bomb, he can reassemble himself. 4. Strength. Being composed of sand. Sandman possesses immense superhuman strength. He can easily lift 85 tons, punch through prison walls, smash steel doors, or destroy tanks. He once knocked Hulk unconscious with a single punch. His sand blast attacks can shatter concrete, deflect heavy machinery thrown by Hulk, or knock him out again. Sandman can effortlessly lift and throw tanks or bulldozers and even pierce through tanks with his body. With a powerful slam, he can send multiple enemies flying. Repeated strikes allow him to penetrate invisible woman's force fields and chip away at things' rocky exterior. He hit Spider-Man so hard that it left him gasping for air. Spider-Man, astonished by the blow, remarked he couldn't recall the last time he was hit so hard. Yet, this wasn't even Sandman's limit. 5. Additional abilities. Sandman has other unique powers. High-speed sand projection. He can eject sand at high velocities, creating impacts comparable to explosions. Glass formation. After learning this skill from the wizard, he can reshape sand particles into glass, allowing him to reflect light and energy. Regeneration. Sandman can convert nearby ordinary sand into part of his body, replenishing any lost portions. By doing so, he can expand his overall size or individual limbs with no known size limit. Duplication. Sandman can create independent clones of himself, forming an army of terrifying duplicates under his control. 6. Alternate forms. Cement form. In The Amazing Spider-Man number 217, Sandman clashed with Hydro Man, and their battle ended with both falling into a river. Polluted water and a violent storm caused them to merge into a colossal creature. In this fused form, Sandman could send Spider-Man flying with a mere gesture, smash walls effortlessly, and shred metal like paper. His size in water made him even more formidable, exaggerated beach form. After Venom consumed a large portion of Sandman's body, Sandman fell ill and his powers spiraled out of control. His body continuously expelled sand, making it impossible for him to revert to a fully human form. Despite this instability, he remained immensely powerful, creating sandstorms and binding Spider-Man. Eventually, his condition worsened, and he transformed into an expansive beach-like state. Even in this form, he could pull people into the sand and drown them. He could morph into a giant snake or construct a crude humanoid body. His deteriorating mind caused him to manifest physical representations of his conscience, including a childlike version of himself, a darker alter ego, and even a female persona embodying his insecurities. Future glass form. In the Spectacular Spider-Man number 308, Sandman lost control of his body again, disintegrating into a heap of sand. Though this wasn't death, he could no longer revert to human form. Unexpectedly, his future self from an alternate universe, Earth 51838, took over his body. This future Sandman, who had lived for 5 billion years, transformed his body into glass. Merging with his past self, he gained unparalleled power. He could create massive glass fists to shatter the ground, launch Spider-Man into the air with sand explosions, and seamlessly transform giant sand structures into glass. The heroes found it nearly impossible to defeat him head-on. In the end, Spider-Man used a teleportation device to send the future Sandman into a void, leaving him to drift endlessly in nothingness. Sandman lamented his failure and the curse of his immortality with the increasing exploration of the multiverse in Marvel stories. Sandman's true potential may be revealed further. Let's keep an eye on what's next for Sandman in upcoming stories.